Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at the TRIVISA Vela. This is a really nice size EDC knife at 7.99 inches overall with a 3.5 inch blade, a 14C 28-inch steel, nice drop point, or you could probably call it a spear point if you'd like. This one has a satin finish. It is a fingerprint magnet. You have stone wash on the flats. Do have some jimping up here. I'd call it moderate traction jimping. Doesn't give you a whole bunch of grip. You have a nice needle-like point that is fairly robust. The swedge just makes it look a little thinner than it is. I love this blade shape. This could be very versatile because that point sits below the center line of the pivot, so I can easily get it down onto something to do a drag cut. If you had to pierce into something, it's going to work really well for that. Also, you have a pretty decent sharpening choil that you should have. I'd say several sharpenings. Where my fingernail is right there, you should have before it starts to widen up in the back right here. You have a decent height flat grind that is not super thick in this portion, but it's going to thicken up toward this tip because the grind doesn't go up so high. Let's see how this thing performs. The knife came with a really good edge out of box, and I absolutely love this blade shape. It's going to be excellent at pretty much anything you throw at it. You got that low tip, so your belly's not going to be crazy swoopy, and it's got a pretty robust tip if you need to do any kind of boring into some wood or something, or piercing something with that blade. So far, slicing good. I mean, this is only cardboard, but cardboard can definitely wreck an edge. So far, so good. Now we're going to test the ergos on this piece of pine, and I started going into it pretty hard right away. I was just wanting to see if there was anything that was poking or prodding me, and I got to say this thing was very comfortable in hand. I was able to get a lot of pressure into that wood without anything feeling bad, nothing. The clip didn't poke me or anything, and it was a joy to use this one, especially being that it had a good edge. It doesn't have to be the thinnest slicer in the world, just as long as it works good. Now see what I'm saying right there? I can get that needle tip on there to do drag cuts, and it's going to work outstanding for that. And you still have enough belly to easily cut things on a flat cutting surface, as you can see here. It's blasting through all the material really well, and that edge feels like it's holding up pretty darn nice. I've had really good luck with all my TRIVISA knives. None of them were underwhelming as far as edge retention goes. But surely that could always change. But so far so good with them. Not the best 14C I've ever tested, but definitely up there with some of the good 14C I've tested. Now, as you can see right here in this 1/2 inch twisted sisal rope, it is just push cutting this stuff. And once again, that blade shape is perfect for this kind of stuff. I'm basically doing a push cut, and I may from time to time do a little forward push into the sisal rope, and it's going through it rather quickly and efficiently. It's always nice when I have a edge that has a little bite to it. This one feels pretty darn nice, and it's comfortable in that pinch grip. We get through 80 cuts. And I think that's excellent. 14C is an excellent budget steel. I've had somebody say that it was a terrible steel, but no, for what it is, it's an outstanding steel. It's easy to sharpen, it's easy to strap up, and it takes a wicked sharp edge. And at this price point, I think it's outstanding. Let's test that edge after all that cutting. It still feels really good. Yeah, some very minor hang-ups up there in the front. I could probably strop those out. Let's see. Yeah, no edge damage, just a little dulling up there in the front. Now let's take a look at the deployment and the action of the knife. It's riding on ceramic ball bearings, and this is a crossbar lock. It has a flipper tab and a nice long thumb hole, so you can better get it really far down. The reverse flick works great, but this knife definitely falls short in the detent, per se, of this crossbar lock. There's two big problems here. This is just like a clutch lock. It has, hopefully you can see in there, there's 1, 2, 3, I think, different little holes in there, right down there, for the Omega springs to sit in, so you can increase or decrease the tension, like on Kaiser's clutch lock. When I got it, it was, I think, in the weakest spot up here, so I put it all the way to the strongest. Now, it helped a little bit, but you have a very weak detent, even with that. As you can see there, I have to preload. I have to do a push button to get it to come out nice. It does come out nice in the reverse flick and shakes out. Not super easy. See, I mean, I'm going down. It's not coming out. But if I give it a decent, about close to a Benchmade when the tension's pushed as much as it can go. Now, see where it stopped right there? That's the second problem. They did not design this too well, because if you hold the crossbar lock just a hair too long, as you can see right there, it catches the back side of that flipper, I mean the front side of that flipper. Catching it. Now, if you do it quick, you can, time it just right. You just got to get used to it. But the biggest issue, I think, is that detent. Now, one good thing about this is, if you love this design and you're super bummed out because of that, they do offer a liner lock version of this with carbon fiber. It's the SGR model, and it's in BG10 steel. And they have one with the Raffier Noble carbon fiber that's like 80 something bucks, and they have a Rosewood one with a Damascus blade that is in that $80 price range as well. So if you love this knife, I would probably, unless, if that's not a deal breaker for you, then go with this one if you want the stronger lock. And if that is a deal breaker, but you love the design, I'm going to leave links to this one and that one down in the description, because I'm going to tell you, I love the design of this knife, and we'll talk about the rest in just a second. But yeah, that's two big no-nos for me. I still, I'm on the fence whether this is a complete bust for me or not. It's breaking in nicely, and now that I've adjusted those springs, it is a little bit better. I'm not really worried about it once it's in my pocket up against the seam of my pants. I'm not worried about it coming out and opening up. I mean, it has decent tension now. It comes to about right there, and then the spring overtakes. On the other end, one excellent thing about this knife is the nice and softened and like a very slight contour on these canvas micarta scales. They feel really, really good in hand, especially the way this handle tapers down like that. I've talked about it a whole bunch. That just fills the hand nicely. It follows the curvature of the hand. And, during all the cutting, this thing was really, really nice in hand. The blue canvas micarta has some nice grippiness to it because the canvas is actually on the surface, so it's that nice soft fuzzy feeling. They have the Trivisa decorative pivot that is countersunken flush. You have a Torx T8 for the pivot. Unfortunately, they went with T6 for the body screws and the clip screws, and that clip is just hideous. That's a part bend clip right there. Now, it functions just fine, but you have that much of the knife sticking out. And another big, big no-no in my eyes, this is a crossbar lock. Crossbar lock is completely ambidextrous. No matter what side you're on, you can manipulate that crossbar lock. So they missed the mark big time by not putting that clip on this side as well. I don't think the other version like this has the clip on this side either. I'll never understand why a company would do this, because it's tapping two holes isn't going to cost you, much time or money. Here's a shot of it in the pocket, and see how I'm saying this, the way this curves like this, it really hugs the side of your pants. So you're not going to have to worry about that blade opening in your pocket, especially if you're carrying it on the right side. And you have that much sticking out, you at least have something to grab a hold to. It goes in nicely. There's just enough ramp. I mean, depending on how thick your pants are. For this, normal average thickness pants, no problem. And my lightweight shorts, no problem. Let's see how that crossbar lock is. Now, I will say This thing has absolutely no movement up or down, left or right, which you seldomly see crossbar locks have a little bit of up and down slide just from that crossbar going back and forth like that. This one, I'm guessing because I put it on the full tension of the Mega Springs, I mean, very tight lockup. You have about a halfway up the scales, blue micarta backspacer, lanyard hole, and tons of internal milling on both sides to bring down the weight. Bringing it down to 114.5 grams or 4.038 ounces. Not bad. I say not bad because the balance point is perfect, making it very nice and nimble in the hand. Size comparison with the TRIVISA Lynx and the TRIVISA Dor. Ontario Rat 1 and 2. Spyderco PM2 and Power 3. Go back over the nitpicks, complaints. I just think they should have figured out the detent system on this crossbar lock a little bit better. Also figured out where you're not going to have to worry about catching the blade whenever closing. But as you could see earlier, I mean, just got to like as soon as it starts dropping, just let go of it. And last would definitely be the missed opportunity for having it completely ambidextrous by putting this parts bin clip only on the right hand tip up carry. So overall, I absolutely love the design. It's very comfortable in hand. Now that I have it strengthened, I'm not as worried about this thing coming open on me in the pocket or anything, but still not that great as far as flippability. The reverse flick's excellent. It's performed really well. It held a good edge like pretty much all the TRIVISA knives I've ever tested. And like I said, if this is one that you really, really wanted, but that's a deal breaker for you, then maybe check out the line of lock version. Or the TRIVISA Dor. Or the first TRIVISA I ever reviewed on the channel, the Lynx. Also the TRIVISA Vul. This one's in 10CR, 14C, 14C. 10CR is basically VG10. This one I liked a lot as well, but they had the parts bin clip on it and some hard angles and points depending on where your hands fell out. And a pretty weighty knife because of the stainless bolsters. And the knife I reviewed right before this one from TRIVISA, the EQU. This one's also in their VG10 Tanto blade. This one's super, super smooth. Front flipper and regular flipper. Yeah, very sleek design. All these, especially these three right here, I would probably choose before this one unless this was the line of lock. This one I like a lot about it, but the ergos for me were just a little underwhelming. So there you go. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.